Hey, Gian, what's up, bud?
Um, is everything on? Is everything go?
Yeah, it's going, baby. I'm getting there. I'm about to put shit on Slack right now. If you go to the Coach Cam's YouTube channel, which is the hang on, I'll tell you which one it is. It's the vote Coach Cam at Gmail one. If we can find that, I'm gonna find a link. So it's ready to stream. He's ready to log on, and we have
Okay. Okay. Because I got my sister being she's the debate moderator, so she's trying to log on too. I was trying to log on, but maybe I
okay.
shouldn't log
Well, hang
on.
on. You might be in the waiting room. Let me get you out of the waiting room.
Okay.
See, Cam's got to start logging into stuff way earlier. He does it last minute. It can't be like that. So I've got you. It's just going to go crazy. So I'm going to I've got, okay, there's you, admit. What's your sister's name?
Siobhan?
Thomas.
Yes.
Got her. She's coming in. And then I'm going to let DJ in too. And then the three of us are here. Oh, it's going to feedback. Hang on. Talk to you there.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. This is not Cam. This is Joe. If you can't tell by the voice, I see DJ, Gian, and Javon. I'm assuming your name wrong. I'm sorry. Thank you, Javon. And you all are here in preparation for the debate. Is there somebody technically hosting this, Gian?
No, Joe. If you could technically host this, that would be perfect and ideal.
Okay, not a problem. I'm gonna log in again as me.
Okay.
Somehow. But I gotta wait for Cam to
come in.
Yeah. So I'm gonna here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you I'm gonna make you the host. Okay. And then when I come back in as me, hi, Javon, sorry.
Hello.
I'm probably not on cam, which is good because I don't have my screen up. Gian, if when I come back as me and not Cam, you'll throw me the host, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
How you doing, DJ?
I'm well. How you doing, Gian?
I'm doing well, sir. It's been a very busy day.
I hope that means good things.
Yes. Oh, of course. Always good things.
I'm just curious, did we find a debate opponent for tonight?
Yes. Last minute, the final hour. Yes, they said they were coming.
Excellent.
Okay, let me see. Is DJ? I don't see DJ. I mean, not DJ. I'm looking for Joe. Where's Joe at? All right, yeah, Chase is here. Okay, cool.
That's the real Coach Cam. I should be. Oh no, that's not. Is that real Coach Cam or is that me?
No,
me.
that's you. I mean, no, that's Coach Cam. Yeah, it's Coach Cam's ID.
Okay, and then are you? Oh, am I the host? Did you throw me back the host?
No, I have it. Okay,
how do I? See if I'm in the. I don't know why I'm seeing. It must have put me on as another Coach Cam. Darn it! Because is that really him?
No, that's not him. That's you.
Okay, that's me. So don't give me the host yet. Hang on. I'm gonna try to log in as myself. So I'm gonna jump out again. Sorry.
Okay. I'm gonna have to ask him how I make him the host. All right. Oh yeah, we got. Where's?
Damn, did it wrong again. Shoot. Hang on. Okay. Hang on, bye.
Joe, how do I make you the
Okay, so you go to the participants menu, and there's a blue button next to my name, and you just do make host from that button. You click it like a menu.
okay. Make host. Bet. Okay, there we go.
All right. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make you and Cam co-host. And then I'm going to, close to letting people in, is Chase is here. Should we let Chase in, right? Cam?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Hello, Chase. I'm sorry I didn't see you there at first. My name is Joe. I'm going to be doing the technical side of the hosting and just spotlighting the speakers when it's you or when it's Cam. And I'm going to make sure everybody else leaves their microphones off and all that kind of thing. Okay. It's nice to have you. Thanks for doing this. We are live streaming it on YouTube. I will send out a link at some point once my head doesn't fall off. So we're about maybe 2 minutes from starting. If everybody's good with that, any dissent there? Any unhappiness? Okay. So Coach Cam, you're a co-host. Just in case, DJ's a co-host, Gion's a co-host. All right. So if any co-host, you can mute people, and please, by all means, do so. So I'm going to make sure everybody's muted right now. I'm going to let people in, and then Javon, are you ready to go for? Are you doing an intro, or am I, or what are we doing?
So I'm doing the introductions.
Awesome.
And then I'm just going to kick it off with describing who we're talking to tonight and with a little what they're talking about and what we're doing.
Tremendous. All right.
Hey,
yes,
one last thing
yes.
before we go. Are you doing like a change of background for time? Or what are we doing for like our time countdowns? Are we doing like a red screen, green screen, blue screen, or what do we?
I can do a timer.
Okay.
What is the time? I'm sorry, Javon, will you let me know how long they have for things, and I will post.
So I'm about to send you the debate rules and all of that. I'll send that to you right now.
So Gian, when you're actually delivering the question, say, Coach Cam, you'll have whatever 30 seconds to answer. Chase, Chase, how should we refer to you, sir? Mr.
Just
West? I'm sorry.
Mr. West, Chase, however you'd like.
Okay, so it would be helpful, Javon, if you could mention the time as you're introducing those people, for each question, and I will put it up. Then I'll also look at the rules as well. All right, we're going to let people in 3, 2, 1. Everybody good? Any dissent? Okay, here we go. People are coming in. Admit all.
See the top of my head.
I got it out of the first now.
No, I can use the phone. Just listen.
You're on in 3.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome between Coach Cam and Chase West. Thank you all for coming.
Just finding Javon's name on the list here, guys. Sorry. To let her speak. There we go.
Ms. Thomas, you are on mute.
Okay, I think our host
There
muted.
you go.
Okay,
Yeah,
there you
sorry
go. Thank you. So I'd like to, my name is Yvonne Thomas. I'll be your host and moderator tonight. Tonight we will be having a debate between Coach Cam and Mr. Chase West. Thank you guys for coming. The debate is for the Texas House District 132. We will have the candidates go over 2 of their main policies and speak about themselves. Tonight, the rules of the debate will have no interruptions while someone is speaking. The candidates will have 3 minutes each to discuss their viewpoints. They will have 2 minutes each to discuss their rebuttals. And the candidates will have 4 minutes each for their opening and closing statements. Does anyone have any questions before we begin? Okay. And in order to get started, I would like to go ahead and throw it over to each candidate and have the candidates let us know and start by telling the audience about themselves, what inspired you to run, and your vision for House District 132. And we'll start with the opening statements of Coach Cam.
Thank you for that introduction, and thank you everyone for having me. I'm very excited to be here. For those who aren't familiar with me, my name is Coach Cam. My full name is Cameron Campbell, but everybody calls me Coach Cam. My mom calls me Coach Cam, and so that's kind of how I'm best known in the community. I want to first start by thanking Chase for showing up. I appreciate the effort in making your schedule available to compete, to show up. As a former athlete, and I'll share kind of my background as a coach, competition is very important to me. And one of the things that Chase and I agreed to was, to friendly spar, right? So as we're preparing to earn the votes of our constituents and those we're here to serve, thank you for showing up. The next group of people I'd like to show appreciation to is our campaign team, both our staff, Gian, David, Joe, Kamaria, Liz, and a handful of other folks that are on staff, as well as our youngest staff member, Jacob, who's a senior about to graduate. He's a part of our intern program. Very thankful for you guys. And most important, I'm thankful for the 35 volunteers across the country who are a part of our movement, including my buddy Tony up in Canada. What's going on, Tony? I hope you're here, and I want to thank you for your effort. I'd like to start by saying that I'm honored to have the opportunity to run. And I want to make it very clear that I have a ton of respect for Chase. I think Chase is a good guy. I have nothing critical to say. But as we roll through these next 55 minutes or so, I think you'll find that Chase and I are two very different caliber of candidates. A bit about myself. I grew up in House District 132. The high school I went to was on the north side of it, Side Springs High School, very proud Cougar. I'm sorry, Panther. Chase and I are both Cougars. We both went to the University of Houston. From an early age, two things impacted me and changed my life. The first one was my senior trip to the state capitol, where I had a chance to meet Garnet Coleman and Representative Rodney Ellis. And they were the only two politicians who made time to see us. The second thing that impacted me and changed my life was my senior trip to Washington, D.C. At that point, as a senior in high school, I committed to my life of service. And so a bit about me in about 30 seconds. As I shared with you, I played football at the University of Houston. I was also the president of two student organizations, the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, which is the governing body for athletes, as well as the president of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. Student Alumni Organization. Out of school, I worked for the Texans before starting in education and began coaching. And that's kind of where I began to earn the name Coach Cam. I was a head coach and athletic director at KIPP Houston High School, which is a charter school in Southwest Houston. I left there as the school's all-time winningest coach. And during that time, I also worked, in between those times, I also worked in a nonprofit organization called the Positive Coaching Alliance, based out of Stanford, California, where we essentially, I traveled all over the country, conducting clinics and workshops, instilling the values of character education in athletes, in coaches, parents, and athletes. Once I left coaching, I began my business career full time. And so I launched, in addition to my speaking agency, my construction company. And that is where I began to see my life change. And so Texas Athletics Construction is my construction firm. We built the softball field at Sharkstown High School, the track at Westbury, along with other projects. I take a large amount of the revenue that I make in that business, and I commit it back to the community. So for 7 years now, I've had my turkey drive, Coach Cam Cares Turkey Drive for 5 years, the Coach Cam Cares Christmas Wishes. And for a number of years, I had a program called First and Family, where I would adopt families I would adopt kids that were first in their family to go to college and subsidize some of their college costs. And so while I was never able to subsidize tuition entirely, and Lord knows how much tuition costs, these kids, the difference between $500 or $5,000 is between having to stay home a semester to work and then ultimately ending up in student loan debt. What led me here this evening was an insurrection on January 6th of last year. Was a moment that I knew that as much community service as I've done, as much of a contributor as I am to the Houston area, to Katy and Cypress, that there's still more work to be done. And so from that path, I called the party. I called the party at the national level. They transferred me to the state level to the Harris County party. And the very first person I talked to was Susan Kane, the volunteer, the precinct vacancy chair. And as I was getting off the phone with her, she asked me one thing: would you ever consider running? And I said, Susan, I'll knock on doors, I'll send text messages. I don't care what it is I have to do. There's change that needs to happen. So that's where that journey started for me. As preparing for a candidate, not only does a body of work that I've committed to my entire life, I think, speak for itself. I spent all of last year in preparation for not only just this moment, but also preparing to beat Mike Schofield. The last thing I'll say in closing, and I'm not sure how much time we have or if we have like a timer here, but I want to make sure that I'm definitely in compliance. The last thing I'll say is, I see Chase as a competitor. Chase is not an opponent. Our opponent is our opponent is Mike Schofield. So as an athlete, a competitor is somebody that you duke it out with every single day. Two quarterbacks fighting for a starting spot. And the starter has a chance to shine on Friday nights, and the backup is ready in the wings. And that's what Chase and I agreed to at the very beginning, that we support each other regardless of who won. Now, while I do think that I'm a higher caliber competitor and candidate,
I apologize. I could not get unmuted, but that is time. So I'll give you 10 seconds to finish your statement.
Sure, thank you. So while I see Chase as a competitor, make no mistake about it, our opponent is Mike Schofield. That's who we have to beat.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Chase?
Hey, how you doing? So first of all, I'd like to thank all of you for showing up tonight. This is not, really the ideal situation that we wanted. We wanted a little more time to prepare, but, we're going to make sure to be here so that we can get our message across and to show that we're not, scared to be here. So basically, my friends, we're in danger. The Texas GOP has waged war on our democratic principles, such as personal health care options and the ability to keep our families safe and when in public. We must stand up and fight for our communities. I'm Chase West, and that's why I'm running to be your next state representative. I've lived in Katy since Mason Road was one lane each way and ended at Kingsland. I've watched this community grow and blossom into a powerhouse for small businesses and a great place for families to call home. I'm a Katy High graduate. I attended McDonald Junior High and Williamsburg Settlement Elementary as well. I've worn many hats in my life: EMS dispatcher, small business owner, and even a Nashville sign musician. But the most important hat that I've ever worn is that of a father. And I've always told my daughter that if you believe in something, you better stand up and fight for it. At this point in time, our community is in danger if the GOP gets their way. Therefore, I'm standing up and fighting for our families and our futures. When the threat and abuse of cowardly legislators in Austin becomes prevalent, when is the best time to prepare to fight them? Should you seize the moment and stand up for working families, women's rights, access to affordable health care, and a sustainable grid immediately? Or is it more effective to wait until the last possible moment? Results don't lie. In order to preserve our democracy, it's clear that a genuine fighter readies their troops immediately, like I did when I filed with the TEC in March to run as your next state representative. As a trusted member of this community and Harris County native, I am the ideal candidate to represent those of us who call HD 132 home. I provide an idealism not seen in the House for many years. I have the energy to unravel the red tape that is ultimately hurting working families. And I have the backbone to fight every single day for every single member of this community without backing down. I'm focused on going to Austin to be in the legislature, to take action for hardworking families, and to stop the Texas GOP from further unraveling our democracy. I'm Chase West, and I look forward to earning your support, your prayers, and ultimately your vote on March 1st.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Chase. Definitely appreciate it, guys. Now we will go into having each one of you discuss one policy issue and how you feel that this policy issue will improve the district. You will have 3 minutes each to discuss your viewpoint, and then you will be able to rebuttal after each candidate. So we'll start with you, Coach Cam. You will have 3 minutes to discuss your policy issue. You can go ahead.
Thank you. So if I were to wrap up what I think about when I think of HG 132, the first thing I have to say is, HG 132 is not just Katy. Like, let's be very clear about that. It is the backside of Cypress. It's, Katy Ford Bend all the way down to Fry. It's Town Lake. It's Bridgeland. It's Black Horse. It's, again, the high school I went to. The high school I went to, South Springs, dead ended at 529 and Fry Road. And so I graduated. I think Chase and I both graduated in the year 2000. So when I think of House District 132, I think of innovation and, to be able to be progressive and to drive a progressive agenda when I get to Austin is what it's all about. So the first agenda point I'd like to bring to the table is our primary focus, which is we call STEM 2.0. So during my time in education, we all have heard the concept of STEM. So for those who aren't familiar, it's science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Well, I can tell you that STEM 2.0 is a feature and exactly where we need to take House District 132. STEM 2.0 is science and technology, it's entrepreneurship and math, but we add an extra E, and that E stands for entrepreneurship. We understand that teaching business and entrepreneurship at the K through 12 level is exactly how not only do we keep jobs in Katy, not only is it how we keep opportunities in Cypress, but it's ultimately how we keep a robust economy that I'm very proud that we have here in House District 132. For the business owners and parents and other people who are here on the call, thank you, Joe. That is clutch. Good job. For the other people who are here on the call, you've heard of the Great Resignation, right? So people who were Chase and I's age, again, I'm technically a millennial. I'm a grandpa millennial, but I'm technically a millennial. Millennials who have resigned and left their corporate jobs in order to pursue their own path and drive their own destiny. Well, the idea of STEM 2.0 is ultimately to empower and to have entrepreneurship and business in the back pocket of all of our students. It's truly an investment in the future of House District 132. When I think about where we're going to go, there's a quote that I like to pull from my Northerners or folks who aren't from Texas. It's from the great hockey player Wayne Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky said, the trick is not to skate to where the puck is. The trick is to skate to where the puck is going to be. And so when I think about STEM 2.0 and I begin to, the idea of teaching entrepreneurship, teaching small business, and making sure that our children are fully sustainable to be successful as they go into the job force, it truly is about skating to where the puck is going to be. Now we see that there's Amazon plants popping up everywhere and giga plants for Tesla in Austin, and all those things are great. But the argument that I make to you as I begin to close is the idea is not to develop our children to be another worker at Amazon. The idea is for our children to be the next Jeff Bezos. Thank you, and I'll turn over the rest of my time.
Thank you so much for that, Coach Cam. And Chase, you will have 3 minutes also to discuss your issue. And we'll get that timer up.
Okay. Honestly, I completely agree with Cam on the whole STEM 2.0 situation. I think it's a great innovation, and I think it's something that we need to add to help to our community. So unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to use the whole 3 minutes to rebut this, because I actually agree with that.
Okay, and your issue that you want to speak about?
Just moving forward to the next issue.
Yes.
Is that what you're asking? Okay.
We can go ahead and go on to your issue.
Okay, I got you. Well, one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that our schools are amongst the worst in the country. our children aren't getting the education that our bludgeoning property taxes are supposed to be paying for. And the reasons for this are simple. Teachers are paid poorly, and for poor pay, you're going to get poor, you're going to get poor action. I would propose a 10% increase in teacher pay over the next 4 years, so that we can help them, actually do their jobs. No one wants to work when they're not getting paid properly. Another issue we have is overcrowding. In those classes where overcrowding is just unbearable, I want to add qualified teacher aides so that teachers can get some relief and spend some time with their families. Lastly, I think that all children in Texas deserve pre-kindergarten. I have a plan to enact that and to include ESL pre-K. Basically, we know that there's so many barriers to the Hispanic, African American, and disadvantaged communities, and I would devise a plan to vet the schools that could benefit the most from Spanish ESL and make sure that they got the funding they needed so that we could provide that for them as well. We don't want to leave anyone behind, regardless of their socioeconomic status.
Thank you so much for that, Chase. Thank you so much for that, Chase. Definitely appreciate those comments. And now, Coach Cam, I will give you 2 minutes to rebuttal Chase's issues if you would like.
Yeah, so I definitely appreciate Chase's disposition. The one thing that I would say from a personal perspective is I come from a long family, a long legacy of educators. I have a number of educators that are relatives here in Katy ISD. I have a ton that are educators in Cypher ISD. So not only do we need to increase teacher pay, I think that's a very common sense agreeable. I can speak firsthand. The reason I got out of education is the pay. So I was a head coach and an athletic director. So I was a top, whatever percent earner on campus. At the end of the day, I agree with what Chase is saying. And I think that, in addition to, advocacy for marginalized communities, I think that retaining our teachers is vital. The other thing I think that he needs to be sure to add in his messaging is we absolutely have to get essential care and bonuses for the teachers that are working now. As an entrepreneur, I'm a natural problem solver. And I think that, it's one of the gifts that God gave me. Last year, I take that back in 2020, I was homeschooling my oldest daughter, and she went over to my parents for a weekend. And I noticed that just the learning space was just shot to heck. And so being an entrepreneur and having a very strong action bias, I actually launched a program called the Parent Support Playbook. And we sold that program to a number of different school districts across the country. The purpose of the Parent Support Playbook is not to teach our parents, to support our parents to teach our kids 5 + 5 is 10. It's how to create learning spaces and adequate spaces for our kids to be productive, while they're at home. And so we understand that COVID was the ultimate insurance check. Right. So no school district was fully prepared for it across the country or anywhere else. But as schools began to galvanize and get back on their feet, it became very clear that there is a space gap, an opportunity gap to provide resources for parents, grandparents, and other support systems while they're learning and providing resources for their kids while at home.
Thank you so much for that rebuttal, Coach Cam. Now, what we're going to do now is go into your next issue. And so this is the second main issue that you guys have for the campaign. And we'll start with you, Coach Cam. You will have 3 minutes to speak about your next issue. So set the timer at 3 minutes, please.
And take yourself off mute, because that's not going to be me tonight. So my second focal point is what I call go big. I'm a proud Texan. And I'm a pretty big guy. Chase is a pretty big guy as well. We both have pretty big beards. So big is something that's important to me. BIG in Go Big stands for Business Innovation Grants. And I come back to the word innovation because it's so important to make sure that in order to combat the conservative and the stagnant agenda and the stagnant stigma that we have in House District 132, we have to drive innovation and we have to drive our progressive agenda. So, the first thing I'll share with you is our internal messaging is not to flip this seat, right? So the idea is not to flip, because things that flip ultimately end up flopping. The idea is to make House District 132 forever blue. That's our internal messaging within our campaign team. So the idea of business innovation grants, or BIG, Go Big, ultimately stems in this. As a small business owner, I can tell you firsthand that I've never had any type of traditional institutional funding. Every business I've started has been by bootstraps and by sweat equity. But when you think about what it's going to take to get House District 132, Katy and Cypress to the very next level, it's innovation. And when I say innovation, I don't mean celebrities taking weekend space trips to the moon, or electric cars, or floating. I'm not talking about that. I mean innovation on a day in and day out basis. And so the idea of a business innovation grant is providing small grants ranging between $500 to $5,000 for small businesses to innovate what they do. Now, I believe my buddy Chase has an accounting firm or some type of paper heavy agency that he runs. The idea is, I can only imagine how much paper Chase goes through. I'm sure boxes and boxes and boxes. So a small business grant for Chase to drive his business could be the difference between him wasting paper and the carbon footprint making a massive impact, and being able to take his business completely paperless. Or the dry cleaner that I go to right there off of Katy Land, right there off of Avenue D, and them being able to invest in detergents that have a zero carbon footprint. So it's these small innovations that across our community will ultimately drive us forward. So when I think of going big, it truly for us is business innovation grants. I'll turn over the rest of my time.
Thank you so much for that, Coach Cam. And I will let Chase rebuttal that point. Chase, you have 2 minutes to rebuttal that point.
Okay, I can probably use about a minute of it. So I actually used to be an accountant. I was laid off during COVID. So now the only small business that I own is my recording studio. So unfortunately, that wouldn't help me too much. I think that's a great idea. Also, I just wonder where the money's coming from. That's my only question. If we have a fiscally sound way to make this happen, I'm down. I agree.
Thank you for that rebuttal. Now I will go ahead and turn it over to you for your second issue point. You will have 3 minutes to discuss your second issue. Please set the timer at 3 minutes.
Okay. Well, since Texas has been so adamant about not weatherizing its grid or rewarding solar energy clientele for more than a decade, Greg Abbott has a history of pandering or rewarding whomever it is that gives him the most money at whatever given time. This time, ERCOT was his best friend. While we continued to charge energy customers for the insanely expensive bills due to the issues with our grid during this last winter storm, our grid has a lot of potential, and unbeknownst to a lot of people, we have 3 superstation switches within our grid that connect us to the SEARC, which is the Louisiana Power Grid. They connect us to the SPP, which is the Southwest Power Pool, which is like Oklahoma, Kansas, all that stuff. And then we also have one that connects us to the WECC, the Western Interconnection. And I had actually talked to John Rosenthal about this, because I was asking him, why can't we just open up these switches? When there's a tornado in Kansas, why can't we open up the switch, charge them for, our electricity, and, vice versa, when we have hurricanes, et cetera, et cetera. And he said the reason is that our grid is so messed up right now that if we were to do that, if we were to open up our switches, we have a potential to actually hurt the rest of the world, or the rest of the country's grid. And that is a problem. So we do need to weatherize our grid. There is also a lot of talk about a storm that's supposed to be coming in the next 3 or 4 weeks. Hopefully it doesn't, but are we gonna risk people's lives again? There's nothing we can do in the 3 weeks, but when I get in office, we are going to weatherize this grid. We are going to use solar power. We're going to use windmills, and we're going to use newer startups such as geothermal once we can get our well bores cleared out. That's all the time I need.
Thank you so much for that point, Chase. Coach Cam, I will let you rebuttal Chase's point. You have 2 minutes to do that rebuttal.
Thank you. So I want to respond to what Chase said as far as Go Big. So the answer simply is the way that Go Big gets funded is by crafting effective policy and securing federal and private grants. In addition to that, as an athlete and as a coach, I understand accountability and deliverables. So I am pledging here officially live, but moving forward, I'm pledging the entire salary that I earned when I'm in Austin to be redistributed as many grants, as Go Big innovation grants. And so at a minimum, it's going to have my backing personally, but the idea is to craft effective policy. Now, as far as the grid, what ticks me off is at the end of the day, losing focus of the main thing is the biggest shortcoming in Austin right now. And so, the priority of the grid came second to voter suppression rights, disgusting and embarrassing, honestly, women's rights policy that was put in place. And this is, again, as a father, I know Chase is a father of a young lady, but as a father, as a girl dad, those things really tick me off. And so, it's amazing how, what the advocacy that was gone and the lack of support and lack of accountability that happened in Austin. So really the question is, who's going to be able to get this done? Who's going to be able to get to Austin and not only build relationships, network, advocate to make sure that we're able to get the grid fixed, but when it comes down to it, who's going to be able to put a foot in somebody's tail when it's time to get it done? Because at the end of the day, equal opportunity is one thing, but impacting freezing families, losing water, not having power, not having gas is something completely different. Now, I was very blessed during the freeze. I was not impacted, but what I did, and what I'm proud of and what I'm known for is advocacy. So I was able to quickly raise a couple of $1,000s and literally give out cash to people who needed cash, give water out to those who needed water, and were able to provide one family a hotel last year during the freeze.
Thank you so much for that rebuttal, Coach Cam. Definitely appreciate it. So now, guys, what we're going to do is go to our final and closing statements. I would like you to close by just letting the audience and telling everyone what makes you the best candidate for House District 132 and any closing remarks that you may have. You will each have 4 minutes for your closing remarks. We'll start with you, Coach Cam. You're on mute.
I did it, dog. I wasn't gonna do it today. Okay, I did it. Oh well. Thank you. Thank you for that timer. I'll tell you what makes House District 132 amazing. I'm a kid who moved from South Park, the south side of Houston, into House District 132 in the 3rd grade in the Cypress area, and then further and further west. And as I mentioned, ultimately at South Springs High School. I understand the history of House District 132. Are we amazing people? Yes. Is House District 132 perfect? Let's be honest. In the 90s, as a person of color, I was, it was not safe for me to be in some parts of Katy at night. So to see the progress that we've made, to see the diversity, to see the opportunities and the inclusion that we built here together is something I'm very proud of. I think that hopefully by now you've had a chance to see that, again, while I have a ton of respect for Chase, nobody will get me to say anything critical about Chase. At the end of the day, we're two very different candidates. have committed my life. And I think at this point, it's almost cliche. You hear everybody say it, but I think my body of work speaks for itself. I've committed my life to service. And one of the things that I think that gives me a unique value proposition or advantage is my focus and skill set when it comes to leadership. And in 2019, I became a published author. I wrote my first book. It's called Alpha Redefined: 12 Servant Leadership Principles of Legendary Leaders. And in that book, I use muses to identify, different servant leadership skills and what's required to lead people. And I think the first way that you lead is with service. So since I made the decision to run, well, before I made the decision to run, I decided to get my feet wet and to serve the people. So I'm currently the precinct chair for District 720, which I need to resign. I'll be resigning tomorrow because obviously as a candidate, I can't do both. But I also served as an election judge for this past election. More than that, I think that in order to be in this space, you have to have the willing, you have to have the guts and the moxie to be able to advocate, to have difficult conversations. And sometimes you have to use a little bit of Texas grit, a little gridiron grit. And that's what I'm going to bring to House District 132. That's what I'm going to bring to Austin. And thank you for your time. I wish everyone a blessed and good night.
Thank you so much for those remarks. Chase, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you. You will have 4 minutes for your closing remarks.
Thank you. Also, once again, thank you guys for having us here. I would say the same about Cam. I have no animosity towards him. And, I think a lot of the things that he has done for the community are, really good things. And, I think he's a genuinely good guy. I think we are two different candidates. I always thought that, I was going to change the world through my music, and I probably changed a few people's lives through it. I was able to get signed in Nashville and do all that stuff. But after the last 4 or 5 years, I realized that I think there's another way that I'm going to change the world. It's way beyond time for a leader who's ready to stand up and fight for ordinary people when duty calls. I filed with the TEC 11 months ago because of the legislation I saw that was being proposed and debated. That's when I joined the Katy area Democrats and began volunteering with Moms Demand, Our Revolution, Indivisible, Harris County Democratic Party, all of those, to name a few. Preparation leads to success. Procrastination leads to failure. I am and have been prepared to fight the GOP's despicable threat to women's rights, affordable health care, affordable health care for all Texans, the working grid, and a myriad of other issues that we must fix now. These issues take time in preparation and cannot be fixed in a week. While there are many other problems, we need to address, these are some of the ones that I promise to work on for our community. As a native of Harris County, this community means the world to me because it is my world. It's my home. And I see so much potential for HD 132, Katy and Cypress. My name is Chase West, and I look forward to earning your support, to earning your prayers, and to earning your vote on March 1st.
Well said, Chase, and thank you so much, Chase and Coach Cam, for coming tonight. We appreciate you guys giving us your issues, telling us why you're the best candidate for this position. I appreciate everybody who's on the live YouTube. Thank you for coming. We definitely appreciate you joining in to watch the debate. And like Chase said, on March 1st, please make sure that you get out, you vote, and thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, great job, bro.
Likewise.
I just want to say quickly, we're going to have a kind of a little after event with Coach Cam. So if anybody wants to join that, we have dropped that link in the chat. I really appreciate everybody for coming on, And I thank you two candidates for, laying out your vision and your message for our district. And thank you.
Thanks, guys. See you guys there.
Thank you, everybody. See you there. And great job, both candidates and everybody participating. Thank you guys very much. I'm going to go over to host the next bit. And this has been a great time. So thank you guys very much. And we'll see you on the other side.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Chase, is your music linked on your site?
Not on my campaign site.
I'll send you an email. Be well, guys. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, bro. You should have. I had no idea you play. You should have texted me some of your music, bro.
Oh, I've been playing for a long time.
There you go.
Nice. Yeah, definitely shoot me some of that. I'm here for it.
I used to tour too, Chase. So,
All right. Very nice.
be well.
All right. You too.